back. I'm Kirsten from JK Fiber Arts. Today we are going to continue with part 3 of our art yarn exploration. We're getting into my personal favorite part of spinning art yarn, which is doing some of the core spinning. I have made 3 bats. We're going to do this from bats. I think it works really well with bats. I have made 3 different colored ones that have different fibers and different locks in them. And also what I've done is I've made up the exact same, so this is 4 ounces, 3.6 ounces, 3.8 ounces, and I have gone ahead and made up 2 of each of these. So I have this one, and this one. So I'm going to make 2 more bats, and after we go through and core apply this stuff over the next couple weeks, then I will have these bats, and you can fit them up yourself and practice the techniques and see what you make. I'd really love to see that. Also blended in with most of these are some silk noils on this one, and then I have the gold Angelina on these, and they look really nice. They give you a little sparkle in there. And then for my core, I'm going to use this blue core, which is kind of my multi-purpose. Again, I have a lot of this unknown wool, but it is wool, and it works really well for a core, so I'm just going to keep using it. And it won't matter if it peeps through a little bit on either one of these. So I'm going to use the blue for that. For this one, I'm going to go crazy all out. We'll see if I might actually save this to thread ply. This is actually silk, and I will, I really want to see what this looks like together, like a lot. So I'm going to find a way to work this into that. I think what we'll start with, though, is this nice green one here. And what I have in there is, I'm calling this one Emerald Isle, and that is my Ireland trip in the fall. It has the Clen, which is spelled L-L-E-Y-N in it, that I got from the Irish crofters. And then it has some merino and alpaca, which is a 70-30 blend, Tussa silk, pulled silk, sorry, and Coopworth locks are the locks that are accenting throughout, and then the silk noils. And and Rambouillet. There's white in here too. When you're making something, an art bat to core spin, one of the important things is, or at least one of the things I think makes it work really well, is doing different colored layers. So a lot of these layers in here are different colors. So one of them has a lot more white in it. One of them is more brown, you can see in there. So when I core spin this, it's going to give me some interesting colors throughout. Okay, and I really like this one a lot. This is a very cool one. I'm calling this one Earthen. And let's start with this one. And for this, I am going to do the easiest version of core spinning. It doesn't matter what direction your core is. You don't have to add twist or anything like we've been talking about the last 2 weeks. I'm just going to core spin this. We'll start by showing you how to do that, and then we'll just 2-ply it together and make a lovely bulky yarn. And I think it's gonna be super cool. Also, what I want to do with this one, because I left some of these locks in their lock structure here throughout, and when I come across those, I'm gonna leave them hang out, and I'll show you how to just lock them in, so that when you ply it, you can leave them hang out, and it gives you like a really cool effect when you knit or weave. It'll work marvelous for both. Let's get started. We are ready to core ply. So for this instance, the core, it does not matter what direction it's plied. The commercial yarn just doesn't matter. It's going to take on what we do here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do it my normal. We're going to spin the core spun Z, which is clockwise, and then we'll ply the 2 together, S. So what I'm going to do, here is my core, and I just put it in this little cloth basket here, and I'm going to stick it behind me on my right, because my core is going to be in my right hand for this. And then my awesome bat here, look at all this sparkly, wonderful goodness. Oh, it's so cool. But what I'm going to do is tear it in half, and I'm going to do half on this bobbin, half on another bobbin, and then we'll 2-ply it. So I am just doing this kind of fast and loose. We're gonna start with this one. And I'm just gonna rip a chunk off of here. I'm really excited about this. This is gonna be super cool. So I'm just gonna, it doesn't have to be super thin or anything in particular. And I'm just gonna set the rest of it down here. All right, I'm gonna just tie on my core here. Had the craziest weather for the Frederick Fiber Fest, which was Sunday. It was 53 degrees and raining all day, cloudy, drizzly, kind of miserable day. And the next day it was 86 degrees. I was like, what the heck? It was crazy. All right, so, and I will get back to you with that Montadale fleece. I already did a little test scour and a little test fiber prep, and it yielded very interesting results. So I will show you that. But back to what we're here for, which is core spinning. So core spinning, you take this core, you're gonna hold it straight like this under a little bit of tension, and you'll start treadling. And what you're gonna do is, I typically am gonna have this yarn, the core between my 2 fingers here, and then these are gonna be my pincher fingers here, and then I'm gonna keep under tension, just pull little bits of this off thin and let it wrap around my core. Now, the core that I have chosen is a thin core, so my yarn is going to be hopefully not quite as bulky. It's still gonna be bulky, don't worry, but it's not gonna be quite as bulky, and it's also not gonna be as firm. And that's what I want, because I want it to be soft. I want to be able to knit with it or weave with it garments, because this fiber is soft. Hey, Finny fans, you're going to be our spinny model, huh? I know, it's thunder booming out there now. Hopefully you won't get drowned out by the rain on our skylight. So we are holding the core like this, or it can go like that, either way. But this is the way I like to hold it, like this. And then my index and my thumb here are gonna be grabbing, and then you're gonna pull down with your hand. And we'll get started here. And let this kind of grab a hold. Now, you can do this. So if you want to be really consistent with your yarn, you can do this at about a 45-degree angle. And then as you come down here, if you look here, my finger's going to smooth it a little bit. And when you do that, hold on a second, I'm getting a lot of tension on my ball here. There we go. When you do this, it's going to be a more consistent, smooth looking yarn. And that's at that 45-degree angle. And now right there, that was a big chunk. I probably didn't need to take that big of a chunk. But if you want to do the thicker yarn without taking more fiber, so what you want to do is you just pull this down here. And if you stay at the 90-degree angle, see how it's kind of building up here and it's making it thicker? Now see how it made that little thick spot there? And that's what will happen if you do the 90-degree, and that'll just pile up on there. And when you come back and ply it with the other one, it'll be really cool. Sorry, I think I'm gonna have to switch bowls because it does not, my cone does not like spinning in this fabric bowl. It's not happening. I'm gonna switch them up. And again, my finger here is smoothing, and what I can do is, sorry, now I adjusted my draw, and I think I might have adjusted it here. So if I keep my index finger up close here, up here, when right at the join here, as it's coming along, My finger's kind of smoothing those fibers out. And you see how I'm kind of doing that? And I'm more of a fan, I think, of the 45-degree angle, really. And so this is going to be more of a consistent 2-ply with some fluff coming in between there. The locks, when I come across them, we're gonna put those in there, sticking out like little hairs. So there'll be some poofy spots, but mostly I'm gonna try to keep it kind of smooth here on my core. And I'm going at that 45-degree angle more so than the 90. But again, if you want to do the 90, that's totally fine. And the 90, well, you let that roll on and it just, see how it gets fluffier there? Oh, no, that's a pretty big one. That'll be a big bloop, but you get the idea. So you'll get to see that when it comes round. And now you can see how I'm starting to get into the colored layers here. Look at that. And so if you do the more solid colored layers in between, then when you do this, look at that nice effect it has. Look at that. It looks so pretty. I just love that. And my cone, which was running so smoothly all along, suddenly has forsaken me. Now it's all hard to advance. I'm gonna keep on doing this. I'm gonna keep smoothing it here. And I really like the way this is coming along. And now some of this, there's gonna be some fuzz from the locks. Some of the locks I incorporated in and kind of combed them, carded them in. Some of them I left whole and in chunks. So you'll be seeing that come through here. I really like the way this is looking. Okay. Ooh, that was a big lightning. Did you guys see that? Ooh. Whoa! Jeez. Did you hear my windows rattle? That was a big one. Yeah, I bet you don't want to go out now, Finn. A lot of times you'll hear people talk about, this should be very thin as it winds on here. So you want to try to keep it kind of thin, like eyelash level. So if you see when I'm letting go and drafting and letting go and letting it come on at that 90 and I'm not holding it with my finger, you see how much poofier it is. Just leave that hanging out there and then we'll catch it when we ply. And then now we're going to go back to so we'll do a little bit more of this floofy one. And then we'll go back to that the smoother one. And that is when you take your index finger and you're putting it right where this is coming on to the thread there. And you're just gonna kind of hold your finger on it and you see how much smoother that is as it goes on. I'm doing that at about that 45. Oh, here's another lock though, so I want this to, I'm gonna let it go on for a little while, but then I want the end to be free. Like that. Yes, we do. And then the other thing you can do, see how I went back a little bit and just let that roll over? And then so I made, basically what I did very temporarily with this free lock is I made the lock the core, and then I let this wind on, and then I come back this way, and that should have that lock secured so that it doesn't fall loose when we go to apply it. And the more irregular your core is, depending on what you want to do, I mean like thick and thin, when you ply it, it's going to look really cool. And it'll have a lot more depth and textures and things like that to it, as opposed to going all smooth all the time. So that's why I like to kind of do a little mix of both through here. And here's our, I guess we haven't done a plyback or anything like that. Let's see what we got here. And here is our plyback test. Looks pretty sweet. Okay, I will stop here in just a second and you can see the progress here. And just remember that you're holding the tension on the core And you're just letting this wind around it, and that's all you're doing. I'm going to use my large whirl here for the ply. I want to make sure I don't over ply it, and if I find that's not giving me what I want, we can always make it smaller, whirl, and increase our twist. So I'm taking my singles here, and I did tie knots in the end here so I don't lose all of my twist. And then I'm just going to tie these through here, and I am going to make a knot. Oh, I guess that'll work. Seems tight enough. And I'm going to ply this the same way as I would a regular 2-ply, except that, let's look at the paper. We spun our single Z, so we're going to ply S, just like we typically would do. So I think I might do this on the smaller whirl. Let's see what we get here. Actually, this is pretty nice. I'm liking it. A lot of nice texture. I was thinking, let's see if I can make it any lower on the draw. I don't think I can. I think I'll start hitting my maiden. Nope, oh, it's still okay. All right, well, we're gonna take it. And here we come up to a lock here, and I just make sure that that's out so that it gets caught and is plied in there. And again, for this, this is a functional, this will be a yarn that's right up the alley of a lot of knitters and crocheters who are unsure about using art yarn. This one I want to make sure has enough twist on it. It might not be enough. There we go. You want it to be nice and soft, but you don't want it to be rope. And this is a nice soft bat, so it should be quite lovely. I'm just making sure that it doesn't twist back up on itself. So next week, what I have coming up is more art yarn, although I am, I have fiber ADD and I'm always like excited about the next thing. But I am really excited about the whole fractal bat thing. I just learned, well, I mean, I've known about fractals for a long time, how to set up a fractal spin. I've showed you guys how to divide for that with a regular comb top. But this was a course I took with Henry and Roy Clemis, and they are the designers of the drum carder that I use currently, the Clemis and Clemis Elite Extra Wide, or Double Wide, I think it's called, Elite Crankless series. And I had the wonderful, wonderful day with them, and I learned so much, so very much. And we did fractal bats, which is awesome, how to make a fractal bat. And it was so cool. And oh, this one got pinched in here. I love this section. Look at that. Oh, that looks so good. See if I can get this one to come out. Looks like I caught it under the tip here. And I did a lovely job of anchoring it in, but I folded it over. Darn it. See if I can get it to come out at all. And we did 2 and 3 color fractal bat spinning, and it was amazing. I just loved it. It was so very cool. So I'm really excited to get that, show you how that works, because I did learn some really good tips for drum carding fractals. Just making sure I started to get a little closer here. So I'm gonna make sure we're not over applying this. Again, it's very soft. It's not ropey in any way. It's nice and airy and lofty. This is gonna be really warm if you make a cowl out of it, or a hat, or whatever you want. It would actually be really cool as a, so if you're knitting like a sweater or a shawl, doing like a textured yarn through a couple of rows, just to add like some interest. I saw a really cool pattern at Sheep and Wool yesterday, and it was, what was it called? This Traveler hoodie, that's what it's called. But she kind of modified the pattern, the vendor, and she was selling yarn, and her yarn was kind of spun and dyed with different colors and different textures. So there was like boucle yarn within the regular yarn that just looks like regular worsted weight yarn. And then when she knit that up, it gave these very interesting sections that had like boucle, and all the rest was like smooth, non-art yarn, and it looked amazing. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's so cool. And then I also thought, oh my gosh, I would never make that sweater because it would take so much yarn. But it was fantastic. It was very, very pretty. And she also modified it because it was like a crop top kind of a thing. And she said she added 7 inches to the bottom so that it was more of a true sweater and less of the crop top hoodie. So I thought that was really cool. I would totally make that same modification because me and crop tops, not so much. The other thing is that I am going to have for these art bat yarns that I'm spinning, the bats available, so you can try this at home. If you like the technique and you wanted to give it a go, you can use these bats, so at least you'll have a good idea how it's going to turn out. All right, so I will see you guys back here in just a few minutes. When I finish this up, I'll steam it, and then we will look at the final yarn together. Here is our final yarn. I love this. It looks so awesome. Here's one of our little locks here. Let me hold this up a little bit so you can see more of it here. So we have some of those locks popping here. They're kind of distributed throughout. It's really, really cool. I'm very excited. It didn't fit all on one bobbin, so I took it off. I have one that's about 24 yards, I think, or 25 yards, and the other one is about 10 yards. You can absolutely knit with this. You could weave with this, crochet, whatever you wanted to do. It would be lovely. I'm going to have this art bat that I used to make this yarn available for purchase at my shop, and you guys can make this yarn yourself, or if you want to buy it already made, I will put this up there until I decide to use it, in which case it will be sold out. Thank you guys for all your support. Thanks for watching. Next week we'll do some more art yarn. I have 1 or 2 more that I think I'd like to show you, and then we're going to go on to the fractal bat making. I'll see you guys next time. Till then, spin happy.